Welcome back to Hard Hat Chat. I'm Justin Smith, CEO of Contractor Plus, and joining me, as always, is Gerritt Bake, CEO of Build Pro. Today, we're diving into a topic that sparks a lot of emotion, a lot of opinions, and a whole lot of misunderstanding across the internet. Pricing in the trades, especially plumbing, has become a lightning rod for frustration. And that's where this conversation really begins. Every time I open social media and see a homeowner ranting about plumbing prices, I feel like I'm watching an episode of a drama series where nobody understands the plot. You see these posts where someone shouts that a plumber charged $4,000 to install a water heater, and the comment section explodes like someone just announced a tax increase.
The funniest part is the person complaining acts like the plumber installed a diamond-studded bathtub. People think plumbing pricing should match what it cost when Clinton was in office. They'll say, back in 1992, my father paid $350. Yes, and your father also bought gas for $1 and could buy a house by returning soda cans.
And that's the disconnect. The world changed, pricing changed, but expectations stuck in a time capsule. Homeowners want today's speed, today's technology, today's warranty, today's convenience, but yesterday's invoice total. It's like asking for a Tesla but telling Elon you'll only pay $7,000 because that's what your uncle paid for a used Honda in 1986.
What contractors need to communicate is that the price isn't just the part. It's everything wrapped around the part. It's the knowledge behind the install. It's the liability. It's the cost of the person walking through the door, knowing if they mess up, water doesn't just leak, it destroys. The plumber is responsible for preventing a flood, protecting your drywall, your flooring, your furniture, your electrical, your insulation, your memories. A leak is not a leak. A leak is a chain reaction.
And that responsibility didn't shrink over time. It grew. The plumber who installs today's systems isn't just tightening fittings. They're navigating tankless specs, recirculating systems, water chemistry concerns, new code updates, digital controls, warranty protocols, and homes built with materials that hate water more than cats hate baths. Yet customers still think it's as simple as connect pipe, turn wrench, thank you.
The reason pricing feels shocking is because tradespeople spent decades undervaluing themselves. There was this old school pride of, we don't charge much because we take care of people. It was noble, but also financially brutal. Then the world changed. Workers' comp went up, fuel went up, equipment prices went up, insurance premiums doubled, and suddenly those noble prices were actually dangerous prices.
That's the part nobody talks about. Contractors didn't raise prices because they got greedy. They raised prices because the market punched them in the face repeatedly. You can't pay a technician in loyalty. You can't fuel trucks with memories of better days. You can't buy materials with a handshake. You can't send your kid to college using exposure as currency. Contractors hesitate to admit they're running a business, not a charity.
Customers romanticize small business owners as if they're expected to suffer as proof of their dedication. Meanwhile, the same customer will pay monthly for phone upgrades, for below average sushi delivery fees, for dog grooming subscriptions, for gym memberships they don't use. But when the person who protects their home from internal flooding charges appropriately, it becomes a crime scene investigation.
Pricing in the trades is more like risk management than retail. We aren't selling sneakers. We're selling protection, longevity, safety, and sleep at night confidence. The cost reflects the responsibility carried by the person holding the wrench. If a plumber installs something wrong and 10,000 gallons of water spill into your house, you won't call Google to fix it. You'll call the contractor and expect them to act like a superhero.
Let me throw something to the audience, because a lot of contractors listening right now struggle with how to speak the price out loud. The number comes into their mind, and suddenly they feel guilty saying it, especially if they remember charging a quarter of that 10 years ago. But today's price reflects today's cost. And if the contractor doesn't say the price confidently, then the customer assumes something must be wrong.
Absolutely. The conversation should be slow, human, calm, educational. Instead of blurting the number and hoping for the best, explain what the project prevents, not just what it provides. Explain that you're not just installing equipment, you're removing liability. You're not just replacing something that failed, you're making sure it doesn't fail again in a month. You're not selling metal, you're selling margin of safety.
One of the biggest truths contractors need to hear is that hesitation is expensive. The fear of saying your price out loud will cost more than the price itself. If you sound unsure, the customer will become unsure. Pricing is communication. Communication is confidence. Confidence is value. It's a chain reaction.
And there's something else. Not all customers are your customers. The people who want the cheapest solution are often the people who cost the most emotionally and financially. Discounting to win someone who only values price is like giving your heart to someone who only wanted the free dinner. You're not building loyalty, you're renting headaches.
And sometimes the higher price attracts the better customer. Think about it. If someone wants premium service, long warranties, meticulous cleanup, clear explanations, respectful technicians, updated tools, tracked trucks, insured workers, background checks, same-day responses, they know that doesn't come with bargain pricing. Bargain shopping for plumbing is like bargain shopping for parachutes. You don't want the cheapest one.
The big takeaway? Pricing isn't out of control. The world is, and contractors are adjusting whether customers like the story or not. But when contractors learn to communicate the story, customers understand the price. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. And hey, if you're a contractor looking to scale your business without adding more chaos, check out Contractor Plus. It's the only app you'll ever need to run your business from start to finish. CRM, estimates, invoices, and payments. Everything contractors need to manage jobs, stay organized, and grow their business in one place. Win more work, save time, and run a smarter operation with Contractor Plus. We're back, and let's jump right into something that stirs the most emotion. Is pricing in the trades rising because everything truly costs more, or because contractors finally realized they were giving away the most skilled service in America at yard sale prices? Most plumbers I talk to admit privately that when they started out, they charged because of what the owner before them charged, who charged because of what his boss charged, who probably set the pricing using chalk on a board in a building that probably didn't even have insulation.
Exactly. Pricing by tradition, not calculation. And tradition is great when it comes to family recipes, holiday schedules, or the right way to stack firewood. It is not a great method for calculating what it costs to run a modern service company with compliance rules written by people who never held a wrench, insurance policies crafted by people who have never stepped foot on a job site, and customers with expectations shaped by Amazon-style convenience.
Let's talk about Amazon for a second. Amazon trained the world to expect speed, transparency, tracking, communication, reminders, photos of the product, updates, return policies, customer service, and immediate refunds. Amazon has more logistics resources than small service businesses could ever dream of. Yet, somehow, the plumber is expected to match that level of service, explain the cost, babysit expectations, and do it all while kneeling in someone's bathroom trying to make sure their shirt doesn't brush against the dirty plunger in the corner.
And plumbers are also expected to explain the physics, the code, the environmental impact, and why the leak isn't just a minor drip. Homeowners always say the same sentence with the same vibe. It's just a little leak. Water doesn't do just a little. Water is patient destruction. A drip behind drywall becomes mold. Mold becomes rot. Rot becomes structural repairs that cost more than the plumbing itself. If customers understood compound damage the way they understand compound interest, there would be no price debate.
And let's talk about the internal side of pricing, not just the customer side. Because when a company underprices, the first person who suffers isn't the customer, It's the team. It's the tech who gets rushed. It's the installer who gets overbooked. It's the office manager who has to deal with the fallout, the phone calls, the expectations that were never set because leadership was too nervous to say the price with confidence.
When prices are too low, burnout rises, turnover increases, recruitment becomes impossible, retention becomes a fantasy. The culture becomes transactional instead of professional. You don't build a loyal team by paying what the market expects if the market doesn't understand what the job cost emotionally and physically. Let's paint a real world picture.
Fictional name, real scenario. His name is Mike. Owns a small plumbing company, 4 technicians, 3 trucks, a dog in the office that everybody loves more than Mike himself. Mike kept his pricing low because he believed that's how to be competitive. But his techs left for another shop paying $3 more an hour. Mike blamed greed, but the truth was those techs had families too. Mike couldn't raise wages because he wasn't charging correctly. So he lost good people, had to hire fast, quality dropped, callbacks increased, stress doubled, Google reviews slipped, discounts were offered to calm angry customers, and suddenly he wasn't running a plumbing business, he was trying to patch a sinking ship while sitting inside the boat.
And here's the punchline. When Mike finally raised prices, the customers he feared losing were replaced by customers he needed. People who understood value over bargain, people who asked questions instead of complaining, people who appreciated expertise, respected schedules, and didn't behave like they were negotiating for a used car.
And those customers exist. The problem, contractors assume the entire market is made up of bargain hunters, but it's not. There are customers who understand craftsmanship. There are customers who appreciate systems. There are customers who research not to argue, but to understand. But customers can only value what's communicated. And if communication feels defensive, the value never lands.
Now, let's hit the topic of flat rate pricing, because this is where the gloves come off in contractor groups. There are people who swear flat rate protects the contractor and the customer by avoiding clock watching and surprise totals. Others swear it feels like corporate manipulation. The truth is, flat rate isn't the enemy. Poor communication is the enemy.
Flat rate works when it's honest and explained. It fails when it's hidden and defensive. When customers know exactly what they're getting for the price, transparency builds trust. When they feel like the price is floating in the air with no roots, confusion builds resentment. The price itself doesn't create the problem, the delivery does.
Let's say it out loud. Pricing is emotional. Money is emotional. People don't react to the number, they react to the meaning behind the number. If the price feels like a cliff with no guardrail, customers panic. If the price feels like a bridge, customers walk across.
Contractors need to become storytellers, not defenders. The story is simple. You're investing so you don't have to panic later. You're paying now so you don't pay more later. You're choosing professional so you're not gambling. That's not manipulation, that's clarity.
And here's another part no one talks about. Many times, a customer isn't objecting to the price, they're objecting to the surprise. People can handle expensive, they can't handle unexpected. They don't like feeling blindsided. Price shouldn't feel like a plot twist in a movie, it should feel like the natural next chapter.
The core question for contractors listening right now: are your prices reflecting your cost, your value, your risk, and your future, or are they reflecting your fear? Because fear-based pricing is the most expensive discount you will ever give.
And here's the funny paradox. Contractors raise prices and worry customers won't pay. But sometimes customers increase expectations because the price was too low. They think cheap means cutting corners. So the contractor tries harder, offers more, gives extra, and still gets less respect. Price doesn't just buy service. Price buys perception.
Contractors don't need to justify price, they need to communicate purpose. Customers don't need the cheapest plumber, they need the right one. And contractors need pricing that protects their livelihood, not their insecurities.
Now we're diving into something critical. how pricing shapes culture, how it impacts technology adoption, and how the right price attracts the right customer, the right talent, and the right future.
Grab some coffee, stretch the knees, shake off the stress, because we're about to talk about the next chapter: charging like a business instead of surviving like a hobby. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. And hey, if you're a contractor looking to scale your business without adding more chaos, check out Contractor Plus. Welcome back. And now we're stepping into the part that really matters for the long-term health of service businesses: how pricing shapes culture, technology, and the future of the contractor world. Because pricing isn't just the financial decision, it's a strategic one. When a contractor prices correctly, they don't just survive, they build. They don't just hire, they attract. They don't just hope for loyalty, they create it.
Pricing plays with morale in a way most people never understand unless they've been in the business. If a company charges enough to pay their tech a competitive wage, that tech walks into the customer's home with confidence. When they know they're taken care of, they take care of the customer. But if they're underpaid and resenting every call, that resentment shows up as rushed work, tension, and corner cutting. The customer notices. The reviews reflect it. Low pricing trickles down into low energy. Let's talk about the ripple effect. When a contractor charges enough
To profit responsibly, the business can invest in better training. That means fewer mistakes, fewer callbacks, and fewer nights spent staring at the ceiling wondering how many more refunds the business can handle. Better pricing means better tools. Better tools means smoother jobs, safer handling, faster installs, and fewer angry raccoons encountered in crawl spaces. Every part of the experience improves when the business isn't barely hanging on.
And let's get into technology, because this is where the conversation gets really interesting. New tech tools, field service software, digital estimates, routing optimization, payment automation, AI assisted diagnostics, these are not luxuries anymore. They're competitive advantages, but they require investment. A company cannot embrace the future while being chained to the past's pricing.
The funny thing is that many contractors say they want more time with their family, more weekends free, less stress, fewer emergencies. But the tools that reduce that stress come with price tags, and if the business is operating with razor thin margins, the company becomes terrified of investing. They freeze. Meanwhile, a competitor who charges responsibly installs the tech, improves communication, reduces missed calls, closes more jobs, and suddenly they're the company homeowners refer without hesitation.
There's a sentence I tell contractors a lot. Your price isn't just tied to your deliverable, it's tied to your sanity. When you charge appropriately, you buy peace, you buy control, you buy the ability to fire the wrong customers instead of being trapped by them because you need their money.
Let's hit the topic of customers for a moment. The price you set determines the behavior you attract. Bargain hunter customers often buy twice. They pay cheap once and expensive later. Value-focused customers pay once and stay. When your price signals professionalism, customers bring different expectations. When your price signals desperation, customers negotiate like they're buying something on Facebook Marketplace.
And here's something every contractor needs to hear without flinching. You teach customers how to treat you. If you flinch when you say the price, they assume it's negotiable. If you apologize for the number, they assume you're guilty. If you rush through the conversation, they assume you're hiding something. So the real question isn't whether prices are too high, it's whether the story behind the price makes sense.
Think of pricing like the foundation of a house. If the foundation is weak, everything cracks. Walls, doors, windows, culture. If the foundation is strong, the family inside sleeps comfortably. Pricing is the foundation of the business, not marketing, not branding, pricing. Because the price determines whether you can hire, whether you can train, whether you can retain, whether you can give bonuses, whether you can buy software that sends reminders instead of leaving sticky notes on a dusty computer monitor that everyone ignores. People think pricing is a number. I'd argue it's a philosophy.
It declares to the world, this is what our work is worth. This is the risk we carry. This is the quality we deliver. This is the experience we promise. And if a contractor's price doesn't align with their promise, either the promise breaks or the business does.
Now, let's tackle the future. Are plumbing prices going to keep rising? Probably, because costs keep rising, because talent keeps shrinking, because regulations keep multiplying, but also because the industry is evolving. Trades are becoming branded, systemized, organized, optimized. This isn't the world of ads on trucks and handwritten invoices. It's digital signatures, automated follow-ups, photos proving work was completed, customer portals, financing options, and same-day confirmations. That's not cheap to provide.
And there's something else trades are finally being respected again. Young people are starting to see plumbing not as a fallback, but as a professional career. But respect requires reward. No parent ever said, "Hey, sweetheart, go into the trade so you can be exhausted, underpaid, and stressed for 40 years." We want the trades to become careers parents brag about, not tolerate.
If the industry wants smart talent, pricing must reflect the future, not the past, because the past was survival. The future is sustainability. And that's what pricing is really about. Not gouging, not greed, sustainability.
The question in the episode title asks whether plumbing prices are out of control or simply market reality. The real answer, they're reality. And reality isn't asking permission.
When a contractor prices their work properly, they're saying, we plan on being here next month. We plan on being here next year. We plan on answering when you call. Not because you caught us, but because we built a business strong enough to stand, strong enough to support its people, strong enough to serve its customers.
And the contractors who still feel guilty charging for the professionalism they worked years to earn need to understand something. You're not charging for the hour. You're charging for the years they gave you the skill to solve the problem in an hour.
If anything needs to change moving forward, it isn't the price, it's the comfort contractors have communicating it. The more confident the communicator, the clearer the customer, the smoother the job.
And if you're a homeowner listening to this, remember, plumbers don't show up because something is working. They show up because something is breaking. You're not paying for today. You're paying to prevent tomorrow's disaster.
Pricing is a partnership. Businesses that understand that thrive. Customers that understand that trust. And the future of the trades depends on both sides evolving.
This has been Hard Hat Chat. Prices aren't out of control. They're a reflection of a world that changed. The question is whether contractors will change with it.
And whether customers will value what keeps their homes safe. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.